Did you know that there is just 1 week until Nationals? So it's been a while since I've done a video blog, but I'm back here just before Nationals. We're 1 week out, and for me, every year at Nationals brings back a lot of memories from my one and only trip to Nationals in 2006, and if you've read my blog this past week, you've probably noticed a few of those little memories scattered in there. But I was curious last night as I was looking at some of those things from Nationals in '06, how many of those skaters are competing now and where they rank kind of in the standings. And it was interesting to go back and look at some of the skaters that were not really the big names then, but are making a pretty big splash now. Obviously the biggest candidate for this would be Alyssa Cisney. She skated in 2006, and I remember thinking how wonderful she was and how beautiful her programs were, but she just didn't have the consistency or that competitive fire, it seemed like, to vault her forward in the standings. But here she is coming into Nationals as possibly the favorite. Again, it's such an unpredictable event that I don't know if she's the favorite, but she has a lot going for her right now, and she has a good chance of repeating as national champion. So it was interesting to see her in some of my photos, as well as Ryan Bradley, who is just as adorable now as he was then. He's just such he's just got such a big personality, and you could even see that in some of the practice sessions as well. So he'll be competing again in Greensboro, coming off of an injury and surgery last season, and he wasn't really expected to skate this season. He thought he was going to retire, and he credits his fans for bringing him back. But whatever the reason is, I'm excited to see him skate in Greensboro as well. I also saw photos of Amanda Ivora and Mark Ladvig, who will be competing, hoping to maybe move up a step on the podium. And, you know, they're such tried and true competitors that, you know, they've been to Nationals so many times, and they just always look like they're having so much fun, and they just love what they're doing. And so it was interesting to see them. And then Parker Pennington, who has been to Nationals for years and years. I think this is like his 11th trip or something like that to Nationals. There's a blog post up on his website, hosted by Figure Skaters Online. I might try to link to that if I can, and you should check that out. He's a great kid. He's got so much personality, so much fun to watch, and he's got some really great programs this season as well. Now, I've been posting video blogs of my kind of predictions, my fantasy team picks, thanks to US figure skating, throughout the international season, mostly the Grand Prix. Now, initially I thought I would post predictions for Nationals, and then I got to thinking, Nationals is one of the most unpredictable events of the season. And there are some reasons for that. Everyone's really trying to peak at Nationals, so you never know where anybody is quite at that time in the season, but it's also an event where there are so many skaters that you don't really see on the Grand Prix circuit. You don't see them internationally throughout this season, so you're never quite sure what they're going to be able to pull off. Take the men's event, for example. Ryan Bradley is coming back off of an injury, but he's been training, he's feeling good about where he's at, and he's such a competitor. He knows what he's capable of, and he's so capable of pulling off something magnificent, but we don't really know. We've never really seen his programs in a competitive setting, so there's a question mark there. You don't know if you can count on him or if you can't count on him. Armin Rabanuzadeh skated in one Grand Prix event, and he blew us away, and he put himself in the mix for the podium in that one international event, but we have nothing really to compare it to. We don't know if he's going to be able to maintain that consistency. We don't know if he's going to be better than he was at that one event, and we don't know how he's going to live up to some of the pressure now of being one of the contenders in Greensboro. All of those things mixed in with the fact that there are all of these skaters who have competed for years and years at Nationals, never quite made it to where they wanted to be. I mentioned Parker Pennington. You look at Amanda Ivora and Mark Ladvig, who skated years and years and years before they got to the podium. happened to do it. Perfect timing to make their way onto the Olympic team. But all of those things combined make it such an unpredictable event, which makes it so fun to watch, but impossible to predict. Now, I could look at scores, I could look at results, I could look at planned program elements, all of those kinds of things, and try to make a prediction, but the thing about nationals is that it really is kind of a blank slate as far as who the contenders are, especially this year. And you know, you saw, if you read my blog, you saw that I feel like this is one of the most exciting nationals in several years, particularly in the ladies event, because of the unpredictability, because we have the chance for the first time since Michelle Kwan to have a repeat national champion, whether it's Alyssa or Rachel or Mariah, but they're not the only ones that could win. So how do you predict that? So obviously you can see that I'm a little excited about this, but before I go too much further, I said all of that to say I'm not going to be giving predictions. If you want to know what I think may happen or could happen, check out the blog. I have separate blog posts for each of the events, so it's not an overload of information at one time, but it's what I think about each of the events that will take place in the next week, a week from today. So check those out if you're interested in what's going on in my brain about who could win, who might win, who's gonna play spoiler, that kind of thing. Otherwise, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, sadly, I will not be attending nationals this year. Once upon a time I thought I might be there, but turns out that that didn't happen. But that's not to say I won't be involved in participating in the watching of the event. I will obviously be watching on Ice Network as much as possible, then tuning into the NBC broadcasts. Now, because I do have a real job, unfortunately, that doesn't center around skating, I probably won't be around for the entirety of the event, but I will be on as much as possible. That said, because I will not be in Greensboro, if you are and you would like to send some information my way, if you hear anything, if you meet any skaters, if you have any little interesting stories or tidbits to tell, feel free to send those to me via my email address, via Twitter, via the blog, or here as a comment on YouTube. I will link all of those things in the comment or the description box, that's what it's called. And feel free to send me those things. I would love to be able to feature some little personal stories, anecdotes from people who are there in the next couple of weeks. Also photos, if you have photos that you'd like to share, I will give you credit for anything that you send me. But if you'd like to share some of those things, feel free to send them my way, and it'll be a little way to kind of feel like I'm there, and then we can share it with other people who aren't able to be there as well. So I'm just the outlet for whatever stories you may have. On that same note, it would be really great, I think, if I could feature a couple of, like, we'll call them guest writers on From the Boards the week or so after nationals. So if you're there and you aren't keeping a blog of your own, but you would like to recap the event in some way and have it posted on From the Boards, I would love to be able to feature your experience at nationals on my blog. Again, kind of just as the outlet, since I'm not able to be there, but to share your experience of the event. Now, it can be of one particular event, the ladies short or long. It can be the men or the pairs, the ice dance. It can be kind of a recap of your overall experience, how you thought Greensboro was as a host city, how the event was handled, those kinds of things. If you'd like to share those things with other skating fans on the wonderful world of the internet, feel free to contact me in any of those 4 ways as well. As I mentioned, email, Twitter, blog, YouTube. And let me know if you're interested in doing something like that, writing up a bit of a recap of your time in Greensboro. Only a week away. Pretty exciting!